Pokemon trading card game has been around for almost 30 years, with the first Japanese set releasing in October of '96. The English-based set followed a bit over 2 years later in January of 1999. Since then, 12 different series containing over 100 main sets have released. Each series has brought new types of chase cards with new rarities. So naturally, it's become tough to keep up with how rare specific cards from different sets and series are. So that's why I decided to make this video series, where I'll be going through each set in every series one by one. We'll be looking at how hard the most sought after cards, or chase cards, were and are to get out of sealed booster packs. We'll also be looking at the values of the cards. I'll be examining graded cards graded PSA 9 and PSA 10. I'll also look at the average value of ungraded cards. In this first video, we'll be focusing on the original series. I'm Sayer. If you liked the video, please remember to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on future parts of the video series. The original series of Pokemon cards came out at the turn of the millennium. The first of 7 sets, the base set, came out on January 9th, 1999. After that, Jungle, Fossil, Base Set 2, Team Rocket, Gym Heroes, and finally Gym Challenge followed. The last of which was released on October 16th, 2000. The chase cards were the holofoil cards. These were found 1 in every 3 booster packs. We know this because on the back of a booster pack it reads premium cards, approximately 1 in every 33 cards. Each booster pack having 11 cards means every third pack contained a holo. Each one was approximately as rare as the others, so you were just as likely to get a Charizard as a Poliwrath from a base set booster pack. This means the rarity or pull rate of each individual holo is based on how many different holos there are in a set. Base set has 15 holo cards, so the pull rate of, for example, a Charizard is 1 in approximately 45 packs. For some perspective, modern cards like the Moonbryon from Evolving Skies has a pull rate of about 1 in every 2,000 packs, and the special illustration rare Pikachu from Surging Sparks has a pull rate of 1 in 950 packs. To be more precise about pull rates, we need to look at how cards are printed. See, Pokemon cards are printed in sheets like this that contain a lot of cards before they are cut into individual ones. This uncut sheet is from base set. It has all of the holofoil cards from the set and 110 cards all in all on it. Base set has 15 holos, and dividing 110 with 15 doesn't get you a whole number, so what happens is some of the cards are on the sheet 8 times, like the Chansey here, while others, like the Mewtwo, is only featured on the sheet 7 times. Dividing this 8 or 7 by the total amount of cards on the sheet, which is 110, you get the ratio that the specific holo card is put into packs that contain holo cards. Multiplying this ratio with the holo pull rate gets you the exact pull rate of each individual holo. So for Chansey, that pull rate is 1 in every 41 packs, and for Mewtwo, 1 in every 47 packs. The layout of these sheets is not public information, but for a lot of the vintage sets they have leaked. If the layout is available, I will be giving the exact pull rates, and if not, the average. For value, we'll be looking at the average price of ungraded cards, PSA 9 graded cards, and PSA 10 graded cards. The average price of ungraded cards gives a good estimation what a card that's in okay shape is going for. For the most part, these prices are good for comparing the demand for different cards within the set. PSA 9 prices are good for comparing prices between cards of different ages. because the average condition of an ungraded card from 1999 and 2024 is going to be different, whereas a card that is graded 9 should be of the same quality no matter the age. It's also close to the value that the average card pulled straight out of a pack is going to be worth after grading. PSA 10 prices, on the other hand, are the flashy big numbers that are nice to look at, and it's not by any means impossible for a new card or a card kept in perfect condition to qualify as a 10, but it is quite hard. Let's finally take a closer look at the original set of Pokemon trading game cards, the base set. The base set is usually divided into 3 different variants of the cards: First Edition, Shadowless, and Unlimited. The First Edition cards are marked with a First Edition stamp on the bottom left of the portrait. These cards are from the first print run of the set. Every set in the original series has First Edition versions of the cards as well. First Edition cards are worth more than the Shadowless or Unlimited versions of the cards. Shadowless cards are unique to base set. They are cards that were printed after the First Edition cards were already done, but before a shadow was added to the portrait of the Pokemon, which is why they are called Shadowless. They are rare and sought after by collectors, so these versions of cards are worth more than Unlimited cards, but less than the First Edition ones. Finally, we have the Unlimited cards, which are all the cards that were printed after the shadow was added to the portrait of the Pokemon. Examining base set pull rates, we know all of the uncut holo sheets, but for First Edition and Shadowless, 2 different versions were used. The ratio the sheets were used is not known, so we can only say that some of the cards were easier or harder to pull, but we can't know the exact pull rates. For Unlimited cards, we know that 5 of the cards have a pull rate of 1 in every 41 packs, and 10 a pull rate of 1 in every 47 packs. It's good to note that all of the 4 holo cards found in theme decks as Shadowless and Unlimited versions are amongst the harder to pull out of booster packs. So the total number of Hitmonchan, Gyarados, Mewtwo, and Ninetales that were printed is probably still higher than the other holos, even with a slightly harder pull rate. The average pull rate of a specific holo being 1 in 45 packs. Now looking at the ungraded prices of all the holos, you can see the First Edition price on the left, the Shadowless price in the middle, and the Unlimited price on the right. For base set, the big 3 are the first gen starters, Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur. After that, the differences in prices aren't that notable, with Charizard being very clearly the most valuable card in set. One thing to note is the 8 to 10x price premium First Edition cards have over Shadowless and Unlimited cards. The First Edition Machamp from the 2-player starter set is also a part of base set, although it is not available in booster packs. The card was only printed with the First Edition stamp. Now let's look at the top 3 cards in PSA 9 and PSA 10 for all 3 different versions. The top 3 Unlimited cards as PSA 9s are the same as for ungraded cards, Venusaur being third at a $300 price point. In second, we have Blastoise at $430, and in first, no surprises here, the Charizard at $1,180. The total amount that exists in this specific grade, or the population, is in the mid 4 figures for these cards. For Unlimited PSA 10s, Chansey makes its entry into the top 3, which may raise a few eyebrows, but this is because it's a notoriously hard card to grade as a 10. This is also evident in the population, as there is only 148 in the world, opposed to the 377 Blastoises and 485 Charizards. PSA 10 Chansey will cost you $2,440, a Blastoise $2,700, with the Charizard going for $9,300. The iconic Charizard is clearly the most valuable card in set. The price differences are large when comparing 9s and 10s, but so are the population differences. There are over 10 times more PSA 9s than there are PSA 10s of base set holo cards. Next up, shadowless PSA 9s and 10s. Again, the starter trio is top 3 as 9s, with Venusaur and Blastoise both going for close to $1,000, and the Charizard going for $3,800. The populations are in the high 3 digits as opposed to the mid 4 digit populations of unlimited PSA 9s. For the 10s, the Raichu is number 3 here, probably because of its low population. Speaking of populations, they are very low for all shadowless PSA 10s. This also leads to them not being up for sale very often, so the prices they sell at may fluctuate quite a bit between sales. The Raichu sold for $5,150 in July of 2024. Blastoise just sold for $10,000, but the other sales this year are in the $5,500 to $8,000 range. As for the PSA 10 Shadowless Charizard, its value is getting up to very nice car range, with the latest sale being for $51,500 in May 2024. Chansey would probably make the top 3 here, but none have sold after 2019, which isn't too out of the ordinary, as there are only 16 in existence. The prices of Pokemon cards skyrocketed in 2020, so we don't know what the Chansey would sell for today. CGC 10s have sold multiple times in 2024 for about $1,500 to $2,000, but with the PSA 10s commanding a hefty premium, the card could be worth over $10,000. Finally, going through the values of first edition graded cards. For first edition 9s, the starter trio is top 3 again. Venusaur being a $2,800 card, Blastoise being a $3,800 card, and the Charizard climbing close to $20,000 even as a 9. But the 10s are where the astronomical values are. Blastoise in third being a $20,000 card, Chansey in second reaching $47,000, and the crown jewel of all Pokemon cards, the first edition base set Charizard, having a value of $220,000. The last 3 sales of Charizard have ranged from $209,000 to $228,000. It is interesting that the total number of shadowless holo cards as PSA 10s is quite a bit lower than first edition ones, but the first edition cards being the original printed Pokemon cards outweighs that difference in rarity by quite a bit when talking about value. The second set of the Pokemon TCG was Jungle. Jungle introduced 16 new holo cards. This time, the same cards were printed as holo cards and non-holo rares. Jungle has the first edition version also, and unique to Jungle, there are no symbol holo cards. These are considered error cards, but they were printed such a significant amount as unlimited cards that I chose to include them as a variant. The uncut sheet layout is known and it's used for all of the variants. This gives the pull rate of 1 in 47 packs for 14 of the holos and 1 in 55 packs for 2 of them. The harder to pull holos are Big Tree Bell and Wigglytuff. Looking at ungraded values, the shadowless slot is replaced by the no symbol error cards. Snorlax is the most valuable card in set, with the evolutions following. After the top 4, the price differences aren't very notable. A few things to note. Jungle is a very cheap set compared to base set. Also, the price gap between first editions and unlimited cards isn't nearly as big as it is for base set cards. The lowest unlimited prices are for Vaporeon and Kangaskhan, which were also found in theme decks. For unlimited PSA 9s, we have Jolteon and Flareon going for $105 and the Snorlax demanding a $155 price tag. We see that relatively Jungle is a very cheap set. For PSA 10s, the prices jump quite a bit, and the top three are Kangaskhan, Vaporeon, and Snorlax. These three have the lowest percentage of graded cards come back as 10s, also known as gem rate, in the set, and the populations for them are low, which explains the relatively big price jumps comparing 9s and 10s. Snorlax leading the way at $2,700, Vaporeon following at $1,500, and Kangaskhan at $770. The no symbol PSA 9s have a bit of a price premium comparing to the unlimited ones, and the populations are about 1/3 of the unlimited. For the no symbol PSA 10s, Vaporeon takes the top spot, having a $4,000 price tag. The population of the Vaporeons is very low at only 18. Snorlax is in second at $3,300, and Jolteon is in third at $2,300. The first edition PSA 9s again see a small bump in value comparing to no symbol ones, and especially to unlimited PSA 9s. Snorlax is again the most valuable card, with Vaporeon and Jolteon following. With the PSA 10 first edition cards, we see the highest prices in Jungle. Snorlax being a $7.2 thousand card, Vaporeon about $6,000, and the Clefable jumps to the third spot here with a $3,300 price tag. The populations of first edition PSA 10s are actually higher than the unlimited counterparts. This could be because the first edition versions were seen as more of a collection piece even in 1999 and kept with more care. The higher population doesn't outweigh the fact that the demand for the first edition cards is much higher, and therefore the prices are as well. After Jungle came Fossil. The set has 15 holos, which also have non-holo variants, and the first edition versions again command a premium. As for the pull rates, the uncut holo sheet layout is known, so we know that 5 cards have a 1 in 41 packs and 10 a 1 in 47 packs pull rate. The easier 1 in 41 packs pull rate holos are Aerodactyl, Articuno, Haunter, Kabutops, and Magneton, with the Mach and Lapras being also featured in theme decks. Looking at the ungraded values, we see that Dragonite and Gengar are the most valuable cards in set. After these two, there's a pretty sizable gap, and the price differences between the rest aren't as notable. The theme deck cards in Lapras and Mach are the cheapest cards as unlimited versions. The unlimited PSA 9s are all relatively cheap, with the Dragonite, Gengar, and Articuno making up the top 3. For the 10s, Dragonite stays on top at an $1,800 value, Gengar following close behind at $1,600, and Hitmonlee being third at $760. Hitmonlee has the lowest 10 population out of all the unlimited holos at 26, which explains it being third here. As for the first edition cards, for PSA 9s, we see the same top 3 as unlimited, with Dragonite, Gengar, and Articuno. The prices and the populations are up compared to unlimited cards, which was the case for Jungle as well. As 10s, we see Gengar leaping over the Dragonite to number 1, with it having sold twice recently for about $5,000. Dragonite being close behind at second at a value of $4,600, and Lapras being third at a value of $3,500. The Lapras being the lowest population first edition 10, clearly having an effect on its value. The fourth set of the Pokemon TCG is Base Set 2, which is a reprint set including cards from the first 3 sets. In total, the set has 20 holo cards. The main differences from the original prints of the cards being the Base Set 2 logo on the card and the different holofoil pattern. The first 3 sets used the so-called Starlight pattern, but Base Set 2 is the first to feature the Cosmos pattern, which was used as the default holo pattern until the release of the Black and White series in 2011. Base Set 2 is the first set where the uncut holo sheet layout is not known, so for pull rates, the best we can do is the 1 in 60 average pull rate of a specific holo. Clefairy, Poliwrath, Chansey, and Wigglytuff are featured in the theme decks of the set. Being a reprint set, Base Set 2 is the only set in the original series that doesn't feature first edition versions of the cards, which makes going through the values a bit easier. The ungraded values are unsurprising, the first generation starters making up the top 3 and Charizard leading the way. After the top 3, the price gaps are again quite small. For the PSA 9s, the starters reign supreme. Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard making up the top 3. The Base Set 2 Charizard being the second most expensive unlimited card as a 9 after, you guessed it, the base set version of the same card at $790. The PSA 10 top 3 looks quite a bit different, as the extremely hard to grade Clefable and Chansey make it to the top 3. Clefable having recently been sold for $2,600, and Chansey selling a bit over a year ago, twice for about $1,400. One card that could easily make the list if sold is the Wigglytuff. It has the lowest population of the set at 10 copies and hasn't been sold since 2019. So, if sold today, it would most likely be for a hefty price. Charizard is still king though, with the last 3 recent sales averaging $6,500. If Base Set 2 wrapped up the first half of the original series in a somewhat uninteresting way, by just recycling old cards, the following Team Rocket set started the second half of the series with a blast. The set is themed around the main villains of the anime show Team Rocket. It introduces Dark Pokemon as well as Holofoil Trainer and Energy cards, and the set contains the first secret rare in Dark Raichu. A secret rare is one that isn't featured in the set list, and its collection number is bigger than the listed number of cards in the set. Dark Raichu is numbered 83 of 82. The card was printed on the same holo sheet as the other holo cards and had the same rarity as them, which was also disclosed on the official website of the Pokemon TCG. But it is special in that it was the first card that was released in English first before Japanese. In Japanese, Dark Raichu appears in the equivalent of Neo Discovery that released a few months after the English Team Rocket set. The set features 18 holos, of which every card except the Dark Raichu is also featured as a non-holo version. Because the holo sheet layout is known, we know that Dark Arbok and Dark Weezing have a 1 in 47 packs pull rate, and the rest a pull rate of 1 in 55 packs. The easier to pull Arbok and Weezing are also featured in the theme decks as unlimited versions. It's no surprise that the most expensive ungraded card in set is a Charizard, The Dark Charizard having a pretty clear gap to the Dark Dragonite and Blastoise. It's also worth noting that the set is the second most expensive set after base set by a relatively clear margin. Another thing to note is that the Dark Arbok and Weezing are the cheapest unlimited holos. More likely an effect of them being theme deck holos than the easier pull rate, but the Dark Weezing is actually also the cheapest first edition holo as well, with even the generally less desired trainers and energy card being more valuable. For the unlimited PSA 9s, we see Dark Charizard at the number 1 spot, even with its population being more than the second and third place populations combined. Dark Blastoise and Dark Dragonite fill out the top 3. With the PSA 10s, we see the price gap between Dark Charizard and the other two close down. Dark Charizard being relatively easy to grade as a 10 and therefore having a much higher population than the Blastoise and Dragonite is probably why the price premium comparing 9s and 10s is not as high for it. The Charizard and Blastoise are pretty close in value at about $1,400, and Dark Dragonite is an $1,100 to $1,200 card. On the topic of how easy a card is to grade, I'd also like to point out that Dark Magneton would most likely be on the top of the PSA 10 list, but at least PSA themselves know of 0 auctions where it has sold ever. The Dark Magneton is exceedingly hard to grade, its large hollow surface usually being riddled with print lines. That's why the population of the unlimited version is only 6, with the first edition version having a population of 65. Now looking at the first edition graded cards, the same trend we saw with Jungle and Fossil of first edition cards having higher populations continues with Team Rocket. The same trio we saw with Unlimited is top 3 for first edition PSA 9s as well. Prices having about doubled comparing to Unlimited cards. With the PSA 10s, we see the Dark Magneton take the top spot with its drastically lower population. Its sales prices have varied from $3,000 to $8,000 over the last 2 years, with 2 sales happening last August for $6,000 and $5,200. The Dark Charizard and Dragonite are pretty much neck and neck at second and third, with values of a bit over $3,000. The 6th set of the Pokemon TCG is Gym Heroes. Heroes and the following challenge are themed around the first generation gym leaders. Heroes focuses more on the first 4 leaders, Brock, Misty, Lieutenant Surge, and Erika. It also features Team Rocket. It introduces Owner's Pokemon, which were cards that had the trainer's name on the card. The cards also feature a picture of the trainer on the bottom right of the card. The set has 19 holo cards, and the holo sheet layout isn't known, so we'll just give each holo an average pull rate of 1 in 57 packs. Brock's Rhydon, Misty's Tentacruel, Lieutenant Surge's Magneton, and Erika's Vileplume being also featured in theme decks. Sabrina's Gengar takes the top spot in ungraded value by a pretty clear margin. Overall, the set is pretty much on par with the Team Rocket set in value. The female gym leaders do quite well for trainer cards, Misty being 8th and Erika 11th. The theme deck holos are again among the cheapest as unlimited cards, with Misty's Seadra, which was also given out at Pokemon Leagues as a pre-release holo. Then looking at graded cards, nothing too crazy happening with unlimited PSA 9s, Sabrina's Gengar being a $275 card, Blaine's Moltres in second, and Rocket's Moltres in third. For PSA 10s, we see all of the top 3 having low populations, Brock climbing to third at a $550 price point with the lowest population in set. Blaine's Moltres and Sabrina's Gengar both being difficult to grade as well. We see the Gengar at a $1,800 price point and the Moltres at $1,200. For the first edition 9s, Rocket's Scyther jumps to 3rd, Sabrina's Gengar being valued quite a bit, it being the most expensive PSA 9 not named Charizard, excluding base set. For the 10s, we see the same trio as Unlimited, Brock again having the lowest population, the Gengar and Moltres both getting a very sizable premium compared to 9s, the Gengar going for $4,200 and the Moltres for $3,800. The last set of the original series is Gym Challenge. Like Gym Heroes, it features owners' Pokemon. Challenge is more focused on Sabrina, Koga, Blaine, and Giovanni. The set has 20 holo cards, and just like for Heroes, the holo sheet layout isn't known, so we'll have to settle for a 1 in 60 packs average pull rate for each holo. The theme decks feature Sabrina's Alakazam, Koga's Beedrill, Blaine's Arcanine, and Giovanni's Persian. By now, it shouldn't be a surprise that a Charizard card is the most valuable ungraded card in the set. Gym Challenge beats out Heroes and Team Rocket in the race for the second most valuable set after base set in the original series, it having 8 first edition cards going on average for more than $100. And by just looking at the Pokemon, it's no surprise, set having lots of fan favorites included. Then, looking at graded cards, the unlimited PSA 9s offer no surprises, with Blaine's Charizard in the top spot at a fairly high $470 price tag. Rocket's Mewtwo and Erika's Venusaur following at $150 to $200. For the 10s, we see low population cards making it to the top 3 again. One of the 18 Misty's Golducks having recently sold for $910, and one of the 27 Giovanni's Persians for $1,090. Blaine's Charizard, being relatively easy to grade, drops the premium for the 10 a bit, but it has still sold multiple times in 2024 for $1,300 to $2,400. For the first edition 9s, this time it's Blaine's Arcanine in 2nd, and the cards going for about twice as much as unlimited 9s. And for the 10s, Erika's Venusaur climbs to 3rd, Misty's Golduck having the lowest first edition population, but at 64 this time, makes it relatively speaking not as hard to get as the unlimited version, and so the Venusaur, it being quite hard to grade as well, is 3rd on the list. Giovanni's Persian being 2nd with the 2nd lowest population as well, and the Charizard reaching almost $4,000 in value even with a population of 413. So that was the original series. We went through the pull rates, values, and populations of base set, jungle, fossil, base set 2, Team Rocket, Gym Heroes, and finally Gym Challenge. In the next part, I'll be going through the 4 sets in the Neo series and the Legendary Collection. Join me there, and thanks for watching.